Okay, you guys ready to hear from a descendant of a liberator and an educator of the Holocaust at Texas A&M Galveston? Anybody? Let's give God a hand for him. Yes, come on. David Lawhon is Professor Emeritus of American History and Holocaust Studies at Texas A&M University at Galveston, where he also directed the honors program. His passion for Holocaust education stems from his father, who at age 18 served with the U.S. Army's 49th Rainbow Division. He'll talk more about that. He has taught Holocaust history for decades, served with Holocaust Museum Houston, and now works as education and director for the Holocaust Garden of Hope, inspiring others to resist hatred and indifference. And his students used to rate him as great and awesome on ratemyprofessors.com, and that's really important. So let's he paid them a lot of money for that. So let's give him one more hand. Come on.
Howdy. Come on. What? Howdy, partner. Welcome to Texas. I want to thank Rosalie for what she does. We all know that. And I also want to thank her for moving my time slot up. I have a family emergency I need to get back to. And we know Rosalie, she has her schedules. And most of the time her husband is sitting there doing enough, quit, or some sign or something, right? And I got 30 minutes. I mean, the world's turned upside down, hasn't it?
I just turned over my 30-minute class.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Where do I start? Goodness gracious. Let's go to the first slide. What did I do?
Just a little bit so your head's not hitting the projector screen. Here we go.
Am I good?
Thank you, sir.
You know, I'll go back over here. You know I'm going to. Oh, there he is. That's my dad, Johnny Lawhon. Born in 1927 in the big city of Wharton, Texas. Anybody familiar with Wharton, Texas? Yeah. Then, it's probably now still, predominantly Germantown. Absolutely. His stepmother was German, my grandmother, and the woman could cook. Oh, my goodness gracious. Never been out of the county in his life. He's a country boy. His dad was a sharecropper. He was very poor. What was amazing about it, I used to ask him about, being poor. He had to quit school at 8th grade to go pick cotton to be able to help, the family out. And what's crazy is he said, during the Depression, he said, we were poor before the Depression, we were poor during the Depression, and we were poor after the Depression. So, if you had a garden, stuff like that, there wasn't really no big deal. He goes into the recruiting office after Pearl Harbor. He was 14 at the time, 15. And they put a foot in his rear end and said, get out of here, boy, Well, when he turned 18, we already had a bunch of folks died. And so, yeah, come on in. Absolutely. We lost American, I'm talking about American here, 250,000 men. We lost 250,000 men. That's not casualties. That's just deaths. These boys went over there to stamp out fascism. They didn't know anything about the Holocaust whatsoever at all. So he does go in. He enlists in 1944. He joined what we call the 42nd Rainbow Division. This is his jacket. Is this thing working here?
Turn it on. Check. Turn it on.
Check. There we go. That's his jacket. Yeah, I will. What's the first thing strikes you?
Little.
It's very small. It looks like a little kid's jacket, doesn't it? Well, he was poor. He was a kid. He ended up being 6'2".
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, and my mother was 4'11", so Lawhon Hardy, right? I mean, this guy was wet behind the ears. He didn't have a clue. He was going to serve his country. This is exciting, going off to war. So the first thing he did, he took a train to California to boot camp. Oh, that had to be exciting. He left Wharton. He's hanging out in California. Then he takes a train to New York, where he has to wait on a troop ship to head over to England. Now, by this time, the Normandy invasion already occurred. The Battle of the Bulge had already occurred. He's a replacement. You know what a replacement is, right? If you ever watched the show Band of Brothers, you haven't, you need to. It's about a 5 popcorn movie. It's like 8 different, sections. But yeah, he ships out. He ends up in England. He was there when the last of the V-2 rockets were coming in to London. He actually witnessed that. That would have to be, I guess, exciting, I guess. He traveled into Lawhon, France, where from Lawhon he went into Paris, which had already been liberated. And from there, he heads out to Munich. They don't know where they're going. He's a private. Privates don't. They say yes, sir, and they head that way. Where is Dr. Susanna? Did she leave us?
She's headed up here. She has to rest in between.
I don't blame her. Me too. Talked about the smell. Has anybody been to Auschwitz? Have y'all been to Auschwitz? Did you tour some of the old, like the women's barracks?
Yeah.
They still stink. They still stink, even today. He said he was about probably quarter mile out. Like I said, didn't know where he's going. And he noticed the smell. Well, that's rotting bodies. That's prisoners with dysentery, a lot of typhus. These places were nasty, absolutely nasty. And so, would you hit the next slide? Dachau. He was second day. We're missing Mr. Bernie Havey. I know. He left us a couple years ago. He was actually one of the very first to bust through the walls. I am known as a son of an angel because if you were a prisoner in one of these camps and these American soldiers come busting through the walls with tanks and you know what, they probably did have wings on their backs. They probably had wings on their backs. And this was the first camp, and it was set up as a re-education camp for Germans. If you didn't go along with Hitler's program, we got a special place for you. Longest running one too, 1933. Initially intended to intern Nazi Party political opponents, communists, social democrats, nonconformists. Located on the grounds of an abandoned munitions factory. Y'all been to Dachau, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the easiest ones to get to. It really is. Northwest of Munich. Had about 30 large subcamps and hundreds of smaller ones. Held about 30,000 prisoners. And most of them, they worked in the armaments factories there. Was liberated April 1945 by American forces. Susanna, you talked about the numbers that we've kind of settled on of camps, about 44,000, right? Yeah, it was a lot. It was a whole lot. There is a map. I should have put it on here. I didn't. It's at the Holocaust Museum in D.C. and in Houston, of a map of just Germany, of all the camps. You can't even hardly see the country. There's so many dots on that map. I mean, and they were everywhere. Next one, please. There we go. These are the original pictures taken by the 42nd Rainbow. The gates coming in, of obviously the living conditions, the barracks. Next one to go back. And this is the liberation itself. When he walked into this godforsaken place, there were dead bodies everywhere, piled up, just heaps of bodies piled up. And his job was to pull dead Jewish off the rail cars that were located there. The Nazis just left them in the cars. They suffocated, they died, or whatever. And they opened those doors up, and there's all these dead bodies. And he probably felt, I've talked to him, that he just stepped into the twilight zone because they didn't have a clue. I mean, you can't comprehend this. You know, war is war. War is terrible. But there's a purpose. There's a purpose here too, and it's called genocide. This is called genocide. He could do it for about an hour. And after a while, it got to him. And so he walks over to the selection area here, puts his helmet on the ground, and sits down and cried. Now, the man never talked to me. No, that was off limits. Until about 5 or 6 years before he passed. I lost him in 2008. And we would talk about 15 minutes before church, because that's as long as he could talk. When I graduated from college, I was a late bloomer. He knew what I was going to do. He knew I was going to teach the Holocaust. And so he told me one day, he says, we need to talk. We need to talk. It's okay. Okay. I remember, I can do this. I don't need a microphone. When I was a child, all little boys always rummage through, their dad's stuff when they're not looking, I was looking at his medals and his jacket and the whole works. And I found this book. This is basically an album of the 42nd Rainbow Division. And I'm thumbing through this thing, and I'm seeing pictures of army men and tanks and, oh yeah, this is good stuff, But then when I got to about the middle of the book, if I can get to it, thank you, I started noticing pictures of Dachau. Hello, Ruth.
Hi.
How are you, darling?
Good, thank you.
It's always a good day to see you. And these are the pictures. No, you don't.
It's for the
I don't need a microphone.
Recording.
Hello? But these are the pictures that I saw. And I was dumbfounded. I'd never seen anything like this. I was spoiled rotten, the whole works. And he comes in the room. Oh, you're a good man. That's our tech guy right there. Give it up for the tech guy.
Happen to have a spare back there.
You gonna fix me up?
Yes, sir. It might not be super loud in the room, but it's going to be clear in our recording, and that's what we're wanting to make sure we get. Here you go.
Is this shut off so it won't?
No feedback. I'm an old musician. I'm used to feedback.
There you go.
It's true.
He was a rock and roll.
Turn it down. Oh, sorry. My dad comes into the room. Now you have to understand, my dad's the nicest man you ever meet in your life. I've had one spanking by him one time in my life, and that was with a water hose. Yeah. Stop that nonsense. But he runs in the room, he grabs a book, he slams it shut, and he says, "You will never look at this book. You will never look at this book." Well, what's he doing? He's trying to protect me. He's trying to protect me. And of course, I didn't mind. I have a problem with minding anyway. Next slide, please. If you go there today, this is what you see. It's pretty sterile. Mauthausen is too, to a certain extent. Auschwitz, I don't know about y'all, but I got gut punched on that one. But here is a gas chamber at Dachau. Notice the shower heads. Now, there's a lot of controversy on this. Thank you. Yeah. There's a lot of controversy on this. They didn't gas people at Dachau. Okay. I've talked to survivors there, and they said yes. It wasn't Auschwitz, because they had other ways to kill you. They'd work you to death. A lot of shooting. There's a shooting wall there.
Well,
come on.
They also used the euthanasia. You know, the euthanasia
yes.
center.
Yes, they did.
You can tell
yes, they did. Yes, they did. Next one, please. Oh, there's the ovens, crematorium, which, you know, really, for Europe, it's not unusual. There's a lot of crematoriums in Europe. I mean, that's just one of the ways to dispose of bodies. In America, we do too, but not to that extent. Do you have the next slide, please? Here is the modern day gas chamber here. The other was inside here. This is a newer one they built a little later on. There's an old one there, a wooden one. But this one, you could kill a lot more people a lot faster. And he's sitting in selection on his hat crying. And a man crawled up to him, probably weighed about 80 pounds, skin and bone, skeleton. And he kissed my father's feet. That is what he really remembers most of all. I mean, it broke his heart. It absolutely broke his heart. The next one, please. The next place they went after Dachau, they were going down to Berchtesgaden because we had heard that the SS were amassing down there for the one last ditch battle. There was a lot of different units that converged on that. They got there. Nothing really happened. I've got something you might want to have. I know. He was walking past Hitler's house before they obviously blew it up. And there was a row of black cars in front. That was his escort. And on the antenna were antenna flags. And he reached up and grabbed one. And I've got that flag framed if you would like to have that. Wow. Okay, yeah. But anyway, the next trip, heading down to Austria. Have you ever seen The Sound of Music? It's a lie. So is Gone with the Wind, so whatever, right? Thank you. After Anschluss, that's the Germany taking over Austria. The inspector of the concentration camps, they inspected a site right off the banks of the Danube River, right out of Linz, Austria, and of course this is Mauthausen. He marches into there, and they liberate that one also. That was a bad camp.
Yes.
It was very bad. It was a granite quarry. 50 subcamps. They didn't really use so much gassing there. They would work you to death. Could I have the next one, please? Here is not a very good picture. I've got another one on the next slide. But this is stairs coming out of the quarry to the top. What they were doing is they were harvesting granite for Hitler's Germania, Berlin, going to make Berlin like Rome, grander than Rome, underground streets, whole works. And these guys had a wooden holder on their shoulders to where they had to carry anywhere from 60, 70, 80-pound blocks of granite and go up these stairs to the trains, unload them. What was crazy too, on the cliffs up here, the Germans used to play games with the prisoners where they'd have a prisoner on the edge and a prisoner behind, and they'd hold a gun to the prisoner behind and say, push him off. If you don't, I shoot you. Yeah. Well, what happened a lot of times, they just both jumped. This place was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Can bring it back down a little bit. Squeeze it down just to, there we go. Obviously the living conditions. And you could see the buildings. These are all granite. I mean, the place is well made. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's like a fortress. Bad one. Another bad one. Ma'am? Austria. After all that ordeal, he was stationed in Salzburg. You ever been to Salzburg? One of the most beautiful cities in the world. Absolutely gorgeous city. And he stayed there for a year and a half as an MP. There were a lot of slow boats coming back, and they got a lot of boys to bring back, a lot of equipment. It moved very slow. He wanted to go home. He was tired of all this mess. And he would, on the weekends, he would train to Paris, he would train to Rome. So he got to see all of this, which is a good part. But what was funny is that his boat was scheduled, and a week before he's supposed to ship out, he was playing a football game, and they were wearing metal cleats, and he got cleated, and it ripped his leg open. Well, he just wrapped it up. He ain't about to go to the doctor, because what would they do? He'd miss his boat. That boy's ready to go home. So he gets on the boat, halfway across the Atlantic, he finally goes to the medic. They cursed him out, said, it's like, I'll just cut your foot off, Well, they operated on him, everything was fine. But no, he was bound and determined, to come home. Next slide, please. That's what it looks like today. I have a personal story. I was here one day, and there was an Austrian field trip, junior high kids. And it's against the law to display a swastika in Germany or Austria today. Well, they all had little patches on them. And I copped an attitude immediately. And they're running around, climbing all over stuff, and I looked at the teacher and I said, you need to control these kids. This is a memorial. Well, there's not a whole lot I can do. I said, well, I can. And the teacher came out of me, and I started screaming at these kids, scared them half to death. He said, you don't have the right to do that. I said, leave. You just leave. I know this is your country, but this Texas boy is going to run you out right now. And I'm not going to put up with it. Not at all. Next one, please. Slow boat home. A slow boat home. One more time. Yes, sir. And he comes home and he marries my mother. Yeah. I've never seen a man, besides me, that loved their wife more than my dad. I don't think they make them. It was true love affair. Absolutely true love affair. When we go through things like this, God rewards us. And he felt that God had rewarded him with her. Absolutely. And he taught me how to be a husband. My wife and I have been together now for 52 years. Imagine that in today's time. How long have y'all been together?
40.
Ooh.
43.
On the spot. How about you?
5.
5? Oh, yeah.
And going.
Y'all are amateurs. Whoa. Good man. Yeah. He goes to work for Dow Chemical. Man worked 49 years for Dow. There's no way I could do that. No. But I couldn't. He turned down promotions right and left. Mm-hmm. Hitler stole my dad. I'll talk to a tree. My father was the same way. My relatives told me, you've never really met your father. Not really. Because he was a very quiet man, very subdued, extremely, until it came to girls softball. He was a girls softball coach and a commissioner for 40 years. That is the happiest I've ever seen him. Yeah, and that was his outlet, you know. But other than that, like I said, he only whipped me one time. Of course, my mother would push him out of the way and go, let me have him, you know. War changed him. You know, my uncle, his brother, was a very outgoing man. He didn't serve in the war. And they were so different, so different. My grandfather is probably the one who mentored me most of all. He taught me how to hunt, how to fish, how to work on cars, whatever. Because my dad, about the only thing he taught me how to do was tie my shoes. And he taught me how to tie my shoes backwards. And I still do that today. And my wife told me when my grandson, don't teach him how to tie shoes. Like I said, he started talking about the Holocaust. Years afterwards. Now, the good part. Number one, I never thought I'd be a teacher. Oh, the horror of that. You send your little minions to me and I have to put up with them for 8 hours a day, you know, whether it's college or whatever. Yeah, I was a rock star. Come on. I fooled my wife. I mean, I married up. There's no doubt. My wife is, you know, whatever. She thought we were going to be rich living in Hollywood. She didn't know she'd be married to a broke teacher. But my father has been opening doors for me when it comes to the Jewish culture, when it comes to the history of the Holocaust. I remember when I first met Helen, her daughters were very protective. Because Helen Collin, I don't know if y'all, a lot of y'all probably knew her. We got very close. You know, my grandchildren call her Grandma. You know, I know. Still think about her every day. Wonderful lady.
Holocaust survivor. They don't know.
She was a Holocaust survivor. Yeah, she got taken from her hometown to the Lodz ghetto, spent time there, lost her father. He died of starvation because he wouldn't eat so they could eat. They had to dig his grave with their bare hands, get shipped to Auschwitz, go through the selection process. Her mom and her little sister obviously got put on the road to go straight to the gas chambers. And her and her older sister and her husband, which they got separated for a little while, went for working. The little brother got his head split open with a rifle butt, died right there in front of him. She said that when her mother was walking away, she blew her a kiss. And that was it. That was it. That was it. Anyway. I was started teaching the Holocaust at Texas A&M. And I would give annual speeches by Holocaust survivors. My first survivor was Al Marks. Y'all remember Al? Yeah, Al Marks. And then the next year I was down at the museum. Susan Myers was the director then. And this place was packed. There was some events going on. I was asking Susan, I said, I need to find another survivor to speak. And she says, well, no, Naomi, remember her?
Warren.
Naomi Warren. I got her, I talked to her, she said, I would love to do it. And she says, well, there's Walter, Case right there. Was that guy's the most suave guy I ever met in my life. Handsome as the devil, too. I mean, my goodness, gorgeous man. And Susan walked up to him and said, Walter, this is David Lawhon, A&M, da-da-da-da. I'd like to speak with you. He says, David, I have so many events today. Let me get your number and we'll get back. I said, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. He takes about 3 steps away and Susan goes, he's a Liberator son. And he stopped dead in his tracks. And he turns around and looked at Susan and goes, cancel everything for 30 minutes. And we talked. And so they came down and they talked. I have to really give A&M a lot of credit, lots of credit for what they did, letting me be able to do that. Then I had the audacity to ask a secular institution, I want to have a march. Rosalie and I have talked about it for years. So I want to do a march. He goes, okay, well, what is that? And I explained it. And I said, and I need you to pay for it. He goes, really? I said, yeah, I need $10,000 right off the bat. Because they're not cheap, are they? Marches aren't cheap. And I said, I already have the honors program, about 150 students that could be the labor. I got the Corps cadets. They're going to help us out too. We're going to do it right. I want to bring in the founder of the March of Remembrance, Schultz Bittner, and his family and the delegation from Germany over. We'll put them up in the hotels there. And, it's A&M, guys. You got to do it right, right? And he goes, is this a religious thing? I said, absolutely. He goes, let's do it. Let's do it. Admiral Smith, got to give him so much credit for this. Admiral Smith, yeah. And so it was a wonderful march. We had lots of survivors. We had the German delegation there. We had rabbis. We had preachers. We had singers. You name it. We had it.
We had the cadets, which was the best.
The cadets were there in their white naval uniforms. I mean, it was crazy good. I think we ended up having around 750 people in this one march. It was a good march.
Was this the 2019 march?
This was when we did it by the port.
Right, Pier 19. When Jeff knows, he's a walking encyclopedia.
Yes, he is.
You're still young. Don't worry. Dementia's coming to a home near you. It's true.
Cancel that now.
Cancel it. I canceled that. I did. I really did. Sorry about that. We rented the Episcopal church there. Beautiful church. It goes back to 1800s. And Bernie spoke also. And of course, my guest speaker was Miss Ruth. Absolutely. Helen couldn't make it either. I picked you anyway. You were first. That's good. Sorry, Helen. I'd worked with Helen prior so many times, but she said, I don't feel good. I'm not going to be able to make the march. I said, okay, that's okay. You don't have to, we're good. And who pulls up at the front door? It was Helen. Goodness gracious. The mayor opened the town up for us. We marched in the street, not the sidewalks. We had the Galveston Police Department just absolutely secure this place for us. We walked down to Pier 19. I don't know if you're familiar with Pier 19 in Galveston. That is where a lot of Jewish refugees came into the United States. That way they could not have to go through Ellis Island, which was terribly anti-Semitic, And a lot of Germans also came through Pier 19, yeah. Who was at that march? Do you remember when the Rotterdam ship came through?
Oh my God, that was
Big tall ship, the Rotterdam. I mean, I'm like, really? you know. And then a cruise ship comes by and goes, you know, it was great. It was great. Yeah. And Ruth, you were wonderful. You always are. Always are. We became the first university in the world to support the March of Remembrance. Yep. Giga Maggies. This led to us having marches at College Station, too. And there's other universities now that are.
Rice University.
Rice University is another one. North Carolina.
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
In not Galveston, but the other Texas A&M. We did about 1,000
SMU.
people. We did
There's about 1,000 at College Station. Yeah.
SMU.
It was huge. SMU. Yeah.
Rice.
Rice. You did Rice, right?
University of
Didn't you do Rice? Yeah, you're the director of that one. Yeah.
Jeff did them all.
He didn't do mine.
That's right. I remember that, Mitch.
You write that down. Put that in the book. We love you, Jeff. Y'all know Jeff, right? Is he awesome or what? I mean, come on. And Jeff also married up.
Yes.
I never thought that I would be involved in this. No, not whatsoever at all. I didn't grow up thinking I'm going to be a Holocaust professor. No, not at all. And when I brought it down to Galveston, I knew quite a bit about it. But I said, I got to get on the plane. I got to take off. Because I'm the kind of person, I want to see it, I want to touch it, I want to smell it. You know, reading out of a book, you know, whatever. And I remember the reason I started teaching this class is that I was a starving adjunct at the time. And A&M paid $3,000 for a specialty class. Oh, that was big bucks, you know. So I said, okay, yeah, I'll do. Yeah, absolutely. And I remember, if you've ever been to Bear Canal, at the very back, by the ash pits, the burning area where they burnt the bodies there. They don't do tours back there. They don't. You go to the blown up crematoriums and gas chambers, and that's about as far as you get. But anybody been in the very back? Have you? I'm sure you have. Absolutely. And it was late in the day. I'm by myself, dumb Texan in Poland. And I want to go back. I want to go to the very back. And so I'm walking down this caliche road. Caliche is like a rock. And it was so quiet. And all you could hear was the crunch of my feet on the path. And all of a sudden, the wind goes. I'm like, whoa. I was already freaked out anyway. This place is terrible. I felt a presence. This is my personal testimony. I felt a presence. I felt a hand on my back because I stopped dead in my tracks. And in my mind, God said, I'll show you 33,000 pieces of silver. Oh, this goes back, doesn't it? And I mean, just the hair raised up on my arms like, you got to be kidding me. So I walked back, because see, I didn't start teaching this class. I started to make money. Not for the real purpose, which I do today. And I'm standing in the ash field. We're going to talk about your friend here in a minute. And it's mushy, but it's not wet, because ashes don't compact like dirt. And I'm sitting there going, you got to be kidding me. I've got all this on film. Fast forward, first time I really sat down with Rosalie and Carmen. You gotta love our Carmen, right? And Rosalie says, we're talking about doing a march. And Rosalie goes, can we go pray first? I said, sure, let's do this. And she says, do you mind if we lay hands on you? I said, please do. And they both laid hands on me. And Carmen pulls off pretty quickly. And I think you asked her, what's wrong, you know? She said, this is a powerful man. I said, well, thank you. You know, I need all the ego I can get. She said, but I saw green fields. I said, you did? Have a lot of pretty flowers in them too? I said, yes. I said, yeah, you just pulled out the ash fields of Auschwitz-Birkenau out of me. And I think we all freaked out a little bit at that point, right?
Birthday also.
It was a birthday, yeah. Anyway, after that experience, I told God, I said, I'll do this for free. I mean, no, I'm serious. I was very, very serious. I remember I wrote to my wife, I emailed my wife, and she knew I was upset. Fast forward. I had some gastric problems, and I was pretty much dead on arrival. My wife was just driving to Houston trying to pull a name out of a phone book for a surgeon. And she called this one doctor, and the receptionist, she told me, my husband's dying. I don't know where to go. And the doctor gets on the phone. Now, how often you're a doctor, right? Do you jump on the phone to every phone call comes into your office? No, Dr. Haas. Do you know Dr. Haas? No. And he said, take him to, what's the hospital across? Western General? Right across from Texas Women's Hospital. It's a nice little hospital. That's where he did a lot of his surgeries because it's not crowded. He said, you take him to Ben Tauber Methodist, he's going to die. He will die in the waiting room. So they ran me up there. Make a long story short, I spent 18 days there, and we got to talking while we were there, what I did for a living. And one day when I was checking out, he sees a Holocaust book on the couch, and he says, well, wait a minute. I know you talk about the Holocaust, but you do that in American history. I said, well, I do that page and a half in most American history textbooks. I said, no, I do a full-blown graduate course. He goes, you kidding me? I said, no. He said, my father is a survivor. He's Jewish. I know. This is God, you understand? Fast forward again. Back surgeries. I've had too many surgeries. I was teaching one day in a wheelchair. I was waiting too long. Most men are stubborn. We are stubborn, aren't we? And yes, it's okay. It's a good trait. One of my students who was transferring to College Station, I had to tell the class, I said, look, we're going to go online. I got to go get something done. We can't carry on with this. I got a phone call that afternoon, and it was a doctor, a back surgeon, said, my daughter's in your class, and she wants me to fix you. And I said, well, bless her heart. And I was hurting. I wasn't in a good mood. I said, well, just, who in the hell are you, you know? He said, I am the director of the neurosurgery department of Methodist Hospital. I have 150 surgeons under my belt. I said, oh, you're the man, huh? He said, I am the man. I said, okay. He said, I'd like to see you. I said, okay. This was a Friday. He said, Saturday, I've got to go to New Orleans and give a deal. He said, I'll see you Sunday. Did you go to work on Sunday? Is there a doctor?
Yes,
Yeah.
babies arrive on Sunday.
That's true. And he opened up Scurlock Towers on Fannin. You know, I said, how'd you do that? He said, I'm the man. It's okay. And we got to talking, and my wife asked him, are you Jewish? He goes, well, yeah. Why does that matter? She said, oh, you don't have a clue. And so another Jewish surgeon fixed my back. It's amazing the progression. Not even knowing what the Holocaust was. No, I never knew a Jewish person. We didn't have Jewish people in Freeport, Texas. I don't even think there's a synagogue in Brazoria County here, is it?
I don't know.
Is there one in Pearland?
I know that my
That's not Brazoria County. That's Fort Bend. Yeah, we still don't have a synagogue You know, this is where we make rednecks and ship them around the country. Yeah, we do. It's true. Cowboys, right? I never knew that. Had no idea. I do now. I do now. Somebody brought up the question a while ago. Where's this country going? I had a preacher tell me one time in front of the congregation, he said he looked disturbed. He said, you will be persecuted. Christians will be persecuted. You will. You know, and it's going to be up to each individual. Do you stand for God? Yeah. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. I no longer teach at A&M, but I am at my grandchildren's Christian school. And we're one of the very first Christian schools to teach the history of the Holocaust. Yeah. So, you know, the question a while ago, what do we do? That's what you do. That's what you do. Little increments at a time. Just a little bit at a time, and a whole lot of prayer. And a whole lot of prayer. I love one of my dear friends, Harold Epps. He's about 6'5", 300 pounds. He's a big boy. He's a cowboy. He said, David, you still dealing with them Jews? I said, I am, Harold. I am. I said, you know Jesus was a Jew? Oh, that's right. Yeah, we forget that, right? We're Judeo-Christian. We're Judeo-Christian. That's where it starts. That's where it starts. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that. You know, and there's a reason why the Jewish people in world history have been the most persecuted. There's a reason why. That's the devil at work. That's evil, unadulterated evil. You were talking about Carts a while ago. You know he met with Roosevelt. Did you know that? In the White House. And he told, you know, Franklin about it. And Franklin's response was, I can assure you, we will win this war, and you have a friend in the White House. And that was it. You were talking about bombing Auschwitz. Well, the Air Force said, oh, you know, it's too far. We don't have the planes to be able to reach that far. But yet they were bombing raids at IG Farben right next door with planes coming out of Italy. Yeah. So people like my dad didn't have a clue. Not a clue. But the higher officials knew. And they knew. Absolutely knew. And there's one thing that I love about Yotes, him starting the March of Remembrance. You know, this is our apologetic stance as Christians, that we didn't stand up when we should. We were bystanders, absolute bystanders. And it's human nature to do that. But we've got to get over that, you understand? You got to take a stance. A non-vote is a vote, right? A non-action is an action. You bet. We can't stand by and let people be persecuted like this. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. We're all God's people. We need to start acting like it. We really do. Now, to finish this really quick, you can all have an effect. You can, but you're going to get up off your backside and do it. It takes work. It takes effort. It does. And I know we're all busy. I realize that. But by teaching this course for years and years, I cannot tell you how many emails and texts I get constantly from my past students that went through this class. They'll go to Dachau. They'll go to Auschwitz. They'll go to Mauthausen. They'll go to Buchenwald, Bergen-Belsen, whatever. And they'll send me pictures. It's on their mind. They didn't have to do that. They're going over to Europe, right? What do you want to go to a concentration camp for? But they're almost compelled to do that for what they've learned. But what they've learned. That's our job, guys. Come on. We have to teach our children. We have to teach our children. You know, all this going on right now, thank you for coming down. Thank you for everybody being here. I've said this before at a lot of marches. This is not for us. This is for our children. We already know. We're already there. Please teach your children. Teach your grandchildren. Teach the neighbor kid. It's our obligation to do so. Yeah. I miss my dad. I miss the time that we didn't have together. I miss the time that Hitler stole from us. He's a great man. He's a great man. And I'm appreciative of what I did get. But I have that want of what he could have been. Of what he could have been. Yeah. Anyway, I'm done. Thank you. Thank you. What is this?
Just a little something. But
Is this gold?
no, you can open it later.
Is this for Pam
I
or
want a
me?
picture with you.
Is this for Pam or me? Huh?
Can you? All right, no, get to that side there. Sorry.
I'm going to break your camera. Got it?
Okay. You can open it at your.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Comment?
We only have 5 minutes for questions, and then we're going to have lunch. We'll have after lunch. We're going to have David Spiegel, Holocaust survivor from France, which I heard was an engineer.
Michael.
Oh, did I say? I'm sorry.
Michael.
I know that. Sorry, Michael. Mikhail. Yes, he is. What?
We need to pray for Dr. Linda. She's driving home to Nebraska by herself.
Well, that's Meshuggah.
I've been all over the world.
I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't
Okay.
worry.
Anyway, he's going to talk. Apparently, found out that you used to play with explosives, and so did Darren over there. So, we have a lot of engineers in the room. How many engineers do we have? Raise your hand.
Oh, no.
Oh my God. Okay. Where's all your pens in your pocket?
Was that Texas A&M? Is that where you got that degree?
Our kids did though.
Whoop.
Their whole house is engineers. You're at A&M?
I'm an Aggie. I graduated from Iowa State University with a degree in chemical engineering. So, Iowa State University, agriculture and mechanics.
You're not an Aggie. You can call yourself whatever you want, son, unless you can call a station. You're not an Aggie.
Listen, but he's a docent. Be nice to him.
Does anybody know if A&M's winning right now or not? There's a football game going on.
Okay, we have just
Any
like
questions? Yes,
5
sir.
minutes. Where's the?
Slide rules attached to their belts.
Unfortunately.
But
Right.
you're not like Jeff. Jeff has a belt. Jeff, you got to show you. His belt has knives, guns. No, I'm kidding. It's got everything in his little belt.
Got a question?
Okay, somebody passed it to her quiz. Wait.
Once your father started talking to you, did he share the book with you that he told you never to look at?
It needs to be on the microphone.
Yeah, he did. He did.
This for the record.
Stand up, please. Say
Oh, I just asked once his father started talking to him, did he actually start sharing the book too?
He gave me the book. He gave me his Eisenhower jacket, medals,
Okay.
guns, the whole works, you know. Yes, sir. Oh. Now, wasn't that thorough? Come on. Yes, ma'am.
I was just going to say that because you brought up the Band of Brothers, and my Polish grandfather, he would watch that movie, Band of Brothers,
Right.
and he would, he's a grown man, but he would cry
Sure.
whenever he would watch that video.
Probably the segment While We Fight. That was the liberation of Landsberg. That was one of the first that we liberated. And our soldiers are like, "Are you serious?" You know. Yeah, I'll make a grown man cry. Yeah.
And he was in the 101st Airborne,
Whoop.
and he was a prisoner of war in Holland.
Wow.
And he stayed by a concentration camp. And when he got out, he wasn't as bad as some people. You said they were 80 pounds, but he was 120 pounds.
Sure.
And so that's still thin, you think, for a man. And he said that he survived off of potatoes and bay leaves.
Probably potato peels.
No, it was.
He actually got the
Yes.
He actually got the potato.
Yes, potatoes and leaves. Yeah.
Y'all remember with Primo Levi when he was liberated from the Russians at Auschwitz? They found a potato peel pile, and that was like eating sirloin steak. What they were fed.
And I was just gonna say, cause what?
That's what we ate.
I need to get a new
Potato
bag.
peel. And frozen potatoes
It's making too much
and
noise.
whatever
in the
you
mic.
could get. And grass.
You do it.
Special grass. That's what was available.
Right.
That's how we survived.
Where were you?
I was in Siberian Gulag,
Okay.
taken by Russia as accused of being spy for Germans.
It's one thing I learned about survivors that we know your story. We appreciate you, but we really don't know your story.
Well,
We know we don't. Is there still some still in here?
yeah,
Are there feelings still locked inside you?
yeah,
Right. And see, we don't know that.
yeah.
We can appreciate you. We love you. But there's, we talk about my dad not talking about it. It's the same thing with survivors to a certain extent, right? A lot of heartbreak that you never get over. You just move on.
True.
We love our survivors, don't we? Yeah, we do.
Yes, Paula has a question.
Yes.
I hate
Paula, please
public.
stand up and say your
I
name.
know.
All right, please say
I
your name.
hate public speaking.
Speak a little closer.
I hate public speaking. But one thing that is very noticeable
She's a
to
second
me.
gen.
What?
You're a second gen.
Yes. My father never spoke
Mm-hmm.
about the war.
Right.
And I don't want to go into my second gen little talk now, but the sadness that I witnessed with my mom, as children, we don't even know what any of that means, to be raised by people who were so traumatized.
I never realized my dad. I always wondered something was off. Because I had an uncle, his brother, who was just like me, and something was always off.
Yeah, I didn't get that impression. My father's family had come to America earlier, so he was surrounded with his brothers
Right.
and sisters that survived the war. He also lost brothers and nieces and nephews and etc. And his father lived until he was 92,
Wow.
until 1942. So
Wow.
he was. So there's an amazing story that is just unraveling. I went back to Poland with my youngest child, and then my sister just went, and both times we met with the family that my parents were not in a camp. They, anyway, I'll tell you all later if you're curious.
Thank you.
That was a little bit
Thank
of
you.
But,
a tease.
it just astounds me. Never forget, and it astounds me that we can put pieces together, but
Right.
we don't really know.
Right. No, there's still. You talked about a while ago about why didn't the Jewish people fight back? Well, they did.
Yeah.
That's not. But there are reasons the elder people would tell the kids in the camps, the young men, don't fight back. You know, we're going to do this the Jewish way. We're going to shut our mouths. We're going to sit back. We're going to let it go. Hitler can't last forever. It's always been the cards. Well, they didn't work.
I want to add one thing.
Yes.
What you said about, retaining the information. When Eisenhower went to Germany and went to Auschwitz, he immediately said, before you take another step,
Get the press.
take photographs.
Get the press.
Because the world will never, ever
No, they'll deny
believe
it.
this.
They'll deny it. And see, and people talk about, oh, it didn't happen. That's just a bunch of malarkey. When they tell me that, then I look at them and I said, oh, so my dad is a liar. I got personal information here. One of the reasons they didn't fight back as much as they did is that if you killed a German soldier, they would march 10 to 20 of you out and shoot you. If you killed an officer, we're talking 100 people shot on the spot. If you kill an administrator like Heydrich was killed in Prague, they went out to Lidice, and there's another town that they just absolutely decimated the town.
So I didn't say that they didn't fight. I said that the
Oh,
Germans
I know.
told.
Right,
Yeah, but
right.
just for everybody to
Right.
understand. So the Germans were teaching their troops that Jews do not fight.
Right.
They do not fight back. And that's why that Warsaw Ghetto uprising took them by surprise. But it's important to know that there were other groups that were fighting, and Professor Yehuda Bauer, who recently passed away, but he was Professor Emeritus at Yad Vashem, he said that the Jews fought, and they fought when it was possible, and they also fought when it was not possible.
The Germans always talked about that the Jews are vermin, the Jews were this, the Jews were that. But yet they were scared to death of them.
Wait just a second. All right, we have Edith saying something. No offense, but
Come on. Oh, she's got it.
it's coming. Just share. Say that out loud. I mean, into the microphone, and then we are gonna wrap this up for lunch. Go ahead.
Well, in my opinion, they didn't fight because, first of all, they didn't have with what to fight.
Right.
And they were stripped of their dignity, of the humiliated. So they had no country. That's why they didn't fight. And today, the Jews are different Jews. We are fighting now. And we're not fighting only on one front, but we're fighting on 7 fronts at a time.
7 fronts right now.
So today, the Jews are different. We are going to fight. And we are not going to lay down and not fight anymore.
Amen. I'm with you.
Okay, yeah, that's right. If there was a nation of Israel, if it was reborn in during World War II, we wouldn't have had a Holocaust, but they would have had a place to go, right?
Right.
I hope. Go ahead.
It's very complicated, the story. No, that's okay.
She'll talk later.
How do I turn this?
She'll correct everything we said wrong. No, that's why she's here. So anyway, thank you, Lord. We just thank you for David, for his share. Isn't he wonderful? Come on, one more hand for him.